Have you got the previous one?
Well, yeah, we're just running out of memory and batteries and things, but it's okay, it's fine. So, anyway, first thing I'm going to do is I'll ask you to say who you are, and you say from Waterways Ireland, and blah, 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 and then do you want to talk about the good practices that you identified, or it's more to do with biodiversity, isn't it? And
yeah, we might talk about the good practices and environmental elements, how important they are, and you know.
Well, you talk about what is important to you. So, because if you're passionate about that, that comes across rather than talking about all that malarkey.
No, I won't talk about exactly. I'll talk about like the kind of down to earth practices.
Okay, so can I ask you to introduce yourself?
I'm Paula Treacy from Waterways Ireland. I work with the Environment and Heritage section in Waterways Ireland, and we have a team of people there, and we're responsible for looking after all the environmental and heritage concerns on the inland navigable waterways that we're responsible for.
And you cover the whole of Ireland, Northern Ireland and Southern Ireland.
Yeah, and it's wonderful. It's a new organisation. It was established under the Peace Accord. So we're a north-south body, so we work in Northern Ireland and in Southern Ireland. It's in the whole island of Ireland, and we have navigations both in the north and in the south. So it's been a terrific opportunity to work north and south and to interact with professionals north and south and regulators and the public and the boating public. So it's been an experiment, and it's been terrific. Yeah, it's been very interesting in that regard.
And you are now taking part in Waterways Forward, which is a huge project which spans the whole of Europe.
Yes.
And you've been meeting partners from Latvia, Italy, Serbia, Norway, France, Spain. Has that been beneficial for you? Yeah,
it's been terrific to actually realise that the commonality of some of the issues that we have, and to see the enthusiasm that other countries have regarding their waterways. And we were particularly taken with the Latvians, who have such a passion for protecting the environment of their waterways and managing waterways, and they're very, forward thinking. That's been terrific. But that's just one example. It's been wonderful just to get access to that richness of experience in all of the different countries. We're very close to British waterways because just being so close physically in terms of geographical context, but we have learned a tremendous amount as well because they have been establishing and restoring new navigations, and we've learned an awful lot from what they're doing in terms of their environmental practices, which are really useful. So you had to identify some good practices which you've been working on, and then they've all been shared amongst different partners. So what were the main things that you identified as good practice? Yeah. We looked really closely in terms of a lot of the work that we've done to protect the ecological interests of the waterways, the canals and the rivers. So we looked at protecting annex species and species that are protected under the Habitats Directive. We looked at how we can protect and conserve the ecological interests of the canals and the rivers while implementing necessary maintenance practices like dredging or aquatic plant control or that kind of thing. So we basically we articulated in our best practices how we protect lamprey, which is an annex species, and we have a particular snail that's present in our canals in Ireland, which is very rare, and we showed how we can protect that while at the same time meeting our objectives in terms of maintenance. So we focused in a lot on that, and we also looked very closely at what we're doing under the Water Framework Directive, which is a key directive in a European context for all of the navigation authorities. Which you have a duty to fulfil that? Yeah, we have a specific duty regarding Water Framework Directive because we are the owners of our canals, and we have to ensure that our canals are compliant with the Water Framework Directive. So we're a key stakeholder. We're actually the competent authority in that regard. We have to do the monitoring that's required under the Water Framework Directive and all of that for our canals. When it comes to the rivers, we have an obligation to ensure that any of our activities don't impinge upon the objectives of the Water Framework Directive, but we have a much more robust role, or a much more leadership role in regard to the canals. And we did talk about that in one of our best practices as well, the kind of protocols that we've established to monitor, to look at all the different biological metrics in the canals, whether it's plants or water quality, ecology and or hydrology, how we monitor all of those to determine whether or not the canals are meeting good ecological potential as they're required to do under Water Framework Directive. And we've been able to share that. I mean, we've worked actually closely with British Waterways in establishing that protocol, and we've been able to share that with a lot of the parties who are interested in looking at Water Framework Directive concerns.
So knowledge exchange is really important here, and you're learning and you're processing stuff all the way through the project?
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes it happens in the most subtlest of ways, that you think you have a handle on a particular process or a particular action or activity that you undertake, and then suddenly you realise, oh right, we're not actually doing that element of it. I think something was raised yesterday regarding the need that we have to evaluate what we do, or to take note of that, so that we can publicise that.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
Oh, right, yeah.
So do you think that the people who are using your rivers and canals, do they appreciate the work that you're doing? Do you think they really get the fact that you're keeping this ecology and biodiversity in an area that they may not even appreciate it?
I don't think we're good enough at publicising that yet, and that's one of the real values of this project, in exposing us to the need that we have to do that, because that's really been pointed out to us. But no, we don't do that enough. I think there's an awful lot of people who use the canals, they walk by the canals, they cycle by the canals. We get lots of phone calls every day because somebody's interested in the swans, or somebody's concerned about overcutting a hedge or something like that. We get lots and lots of phone calls, and on the river, about activities on the rivers. And people don't actually realise the amount of work that is actually that we actually undertake to protect the ecology of the canals, because our canals are natural heritage areas, and so they're very important national resources, and we have to work very hard to protect the ecology, because that is so valuable in and of itself. So we need to find ways to really get the message out to our stakeholders about just how valuable the canals are in terms of their ecology, and then to understand that their taxpayers' money is being used to protect that resource, and that this is how it's being used. Because obviously in these kind of times where we have to be fiscally responsible, people want to know, why are they spending millions of money on maintenance of canals? And so it's very important to show the actual connections, and to show this is money well spent. This is protecting a complex ecological resource that's got terrestrial habitat and aquatic habitat and protected species, and we need to raise the value of that resource in the minds of people.
Fantastic. Good luck.
Oh, thank you.